Welcome to the Jeremy Hill Show. If you're easily triggered, leave now because this is not the show for you. Now, what I'm going to have in this particular reaction video, man, I'm going to give you a man who is about 6'2". He's lean, he's ripped, and he is a bouncer, according to him, you know, his own admission. But he is a bouncer. And he wants to tell you what he has observed when it comes to single mothers in the club. You understand me? And it's very interesting. I think you might like this. So do me a favor, hit that notification bell. Once you do that, select the option that says all. That way you'll be informed of all my new content. Can you dig it? Now let me go ahead and get into this thing. Let's get it.
Guys, in this video, I'm going to share with you what being a bouncer actually taught me about single mothers. And guys, I'm not going to hold back. Not only am I going to share with you guys what I learned as a bouncer, but also in my own personal life so that you don't make the same mistakes that I did and waste years of your life. And yeah, this video might offend some people, you know what I'm saying? People might not like this video, but everything that I'm going to talk about in this video are facts, they're truth, and they're experience that I not only saw, but lived myself, okay? Things that I've never shared before. So point number one that I'm going to make in this video is single mothers are single for a reason, okay? Now, I've heard people say this before, and I never really understood what that meant, right? Because maybe, oh, maybe they just got cheated on, right? I never really understood what single mothers are single for a reason meant until I started to actually get involved with one. But one thing that I would notice, guys, in the clubs was that a lot of the regulars, they actually had kids. So what I mean was, like, a lot of the women that I would see on a regular basis, like, they actually had kids. And in my head, I would always wonder, like, why does this chick who has a kid, why is she always in the club? Like, shouldn't she be home with her kids? Like, what is she doing here? Like, what the fuck? But it was never like a big question for me because I never had any sort of relationship or involvement with a single mom, right? So it was just a question that never made sense to me. And I always kind of looked at them a little weird, right? But it wasn't until I got involved in a relationship with a single mom that I actually gained a whole different perspective of the situation, right? So I was bouncing, and this was when I moved down to South Carolina. I was bouncing and I met this chick, right? This chick had great energy, or so I thought, right? She was very happy, outgoing. She had a good, fun vibe. So we ended up exchanging numbers, right? I met her when I was bouncing. And the important thing is that I quickly found out that she actually had a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing about it was I was highly attracted to this chick. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know what? She has a kid. I've never been in this position before. And I don't even want kids, right? Because I've never really had that interest of having kids. So in my head, I was like, all right, look, I'm not interested in having kids. You know what I'm saying? The risk is too fucking high. So if I have to, you know what I'm saying, help her with her kid, I don't see that as a problem because I don't really want kids of my own, right? So I almost saw it as like a win-win, as stupid as that sounds, right? Because I didn't understand a lot of things, right? I almost saw it as a win-win. So I was like, all right, whatever. If I have to help raise her kid, that's fine because I don't want a kid of my own. So at least I'm doing something for society and I'm helping raise a kid with a father masculine figure, or so I thought. Okay, so I ended up going out with this chick, and I quickly realized that this was one of those chicks that would be out in the club every week. Okay, and it was like the second time I hung out with her, and I asked her, hey, like, where's your kid at? You know, like, where's your kid at? And she told me, oh no, she's with my mom. And as soon as she told me that, I already started to think, I don't want a kid with this chick. Mind you, I never wanted a kid in the first place, right? But I already knew in my head, like, this chick is recreational use only.
Now, that's something I want a lot of you young men to understand. If you, and don't get it wrong, there are some good-looking baby mamas out there, really is. But if you notice that woman is always in the club every weekend or every other weekend, she got to turn up. She always got to be outside. She's keeping up with the Joneses, always in that type of activity, man. That's not the one for you. That's just a smash and dash, and that's for recreational purposes only. And what women don't understand is that men who are productive, highly productive men who are about their business, men who are gainfully employed, they are looking at things like that. We look at that. We observe that. We're like, wait a minute, this woman has a child, but she's in the club all the time shaking ass. That tells us that you're not a good mother. I know that makes some women mad. I'm a good mother. I deserve my time away from my child. I need to live my life. No, you're supposed to do all that stuff before you had a child. When you have a child, your entire life's supposed to change, period. Not to say that you can't have a good time, but going to the clubs and stuff like you did when you were single, no, you can't do that shit no more. All these girls' nights and girl trips, you can't do that no more. You got to put your children and your husband first now. But she wasn't married, so therefore she's a single mother, like this gentleman said. Single mothers are single for a reason. It is. They make poor decisions, man, and they're selfish. Also, hit that like button, man. Sometimes I get these videos, get 5,000 views and get like, what, 400 to 500 likes. That don't make sense. It don't make sense as numbers, man. Hit that like button, man, if you like what you're seeing right now. Appreciate that.
Okay. She's leaving her kid at the house while she's going to shake ass, drink, and club. Not only once every so now and then, but every fucking week. Okay. So I already knew, like, all right, let me proceed with caution, right? The more I got to know this chick, the more red flags that I began to see. Okay. But since I was so pussy whipped, essentially, by the fact that this chick looked pretty good and has such a good energy and vibe, I kept going deeper and deeper into the situation. One thing that caught my attention, guys, was that this chick would be buying bottles, right? Maybe every other week she'd buy a bottle, right? Like a Don Julio's or like a fucking, it was Don Julio's, right? And also she would actually buy me drinks every so now and then. Now at the time, guys, I was working as a barber and I was just starting my barbering career. So like I remember having to check my bank account every time that I would go out because I didn't even have that much money to buy drinks. And there were a couple of occasions where she would buy me drinks, right? So in my head, I was like, damn, like, I guess this chick got some money, right? I guess this chick got some money. And I'm not going to say her occupation here because I don't want people to know who I'm talking about, right? So what I ended up realizing, guys, was that this chick was essentially broke. Like this chick was essentially living some sort of paycheck to paycheck life. And the reason I found out about this was because she would always complain about the fact that her baby father is very stingy. He doesn't send me enough money. He doesn't help me out with the kid. He doesn't want to contribute enough money. But meanwhile, this chick was out here literally buying drinks for me, okay? Buying bottles and going to the club every week, okay? And that already made me realize, like, yo, thank God her baby daddy doesn't send her a lot of money because look what she's fucking doing with it. And guys, I literally realized that the drinks she would buy me was literally with the money of her fucking baby father. Guys, picture this. Child support money that a lot of these dads pay these single moms. This fucking single mom was out here in the clubs buying liquor, buying me drinks, buying bottles to then complain to her baby father and tell him, yo, you're not sending me enough money. I need more help with the kid.
Think about that, Jack. A man sending his baby mama money just so she can turn around and use that money to buy another man drinks. Man, but we've been saying that for a long time. We've been saying that women are, they misuse the money that's supposed to be going to the children. They use it to buy nails and shit. And he's just confirming what we already know. So women do that. Women, I'm gonna tell you something. There are a lot of women who get good, decent child support from their baby daddies, but complain about it because they want to live a lifestyle that they can't afford on their own. And they want that baby daddy to foot the bill for a particular lifestyle that they can't get themselves. You understand me, Jack? They don't care about those children, man. They prioritize their desires, their wants, their I'm outside moments over those children. That's what they care about. They care about themselves. A lot of these women are selfish. Get that through your head, man. A lot of these women are selfish. You understand me, Jack? They don't care about nothing but themselves. They use those children as a way of getting another income, another stream of income. You understand me?
You know what I'm saying? So this is what made me realize, yo, single mothers are single for a fucking reason, okay? That's the first point that I realized. And seeing this from the inside perspective made me realize, like, yo, I'm going to just treat her as recreational use only. But what happened was, guys, I ended up getting involved in a situation, actually developing a relationship with a child. And I'm going to get into that later, okay? But bottom line, she was essentially buying me drinks, spending the money that her baby father would send her in the clubs and to buy me drinks and to buy bottles, okay? And one time, she actually didn't have enough money to pay rent to the point where her electricity got shut off, right? And at this point, this is when I realized, like, yo, something's really fucking off. Something's really off. You know what I'm saying? But at that point, I was so involved in the relationship with her and her kid that I wanted to be a savior to her kid. I saw her struggling because of her own decisions, and I wanted to be there for the kid, which I'm going to go into later. But bottom line.
Now, he seemed like he might be a good dude, but I'm going to tell you something. She saw him as a trick and a simp. It might be hurtful for him to hear that. Like I said, it's not bashing this brother. But everything that he's talking about tells me that she saw him as a trick. Now, you could be a trick and a woman buy you stuff. Now, let me break that down, because a lot of people don't know the game like this. Sometimes you can make a small investment into a person because you expect to yield a hellified return. Let's say I give this person $100. Well, I know by the time Friday come next week, this person gonna give me $700. You understand me? So women would see a simp and trick them by putting a little minimum investment into them to make them think that they're not really just using them, but they will invest something very small and tiny to make that person think that they really care about them, so they will also spend money on them. You understand me? It's all a facade. You know what I mean? And that's how a lot of men fall for that, man. She gives some coochie, and at the same time, this wasn't her money to spend. This was the baby daddy's money, and she was spending that money on him, so she didn't really lose anything because she got a check coming from the other guy. You understand me? So now this man thinks, okay, well, she's fine. She giving me some coochie. She buying me bottles and stuff, buying me drinks and shit. So let me over invest. Let me invest more into this relationship than what she's doing. But you don't understand that when you're a simp. All right? When you are a sucker simp is a man who is genuinely a good guy, who really has good intentions, who really wants to see a woman win, someone that he's interested in, but he's naive. He's green behind the ears. He's gullible, so she can use his good intentions against him to come up. That's a sucker simp. A lame simp is a person who has no personality, socially awkward, don't know how to talk to women, so he uses his resources and his assets, aka his money, to get the attention of a woman and to maintain the attention of a woman and to manipulate her into doing things for him. That's a lame simp, because he has no personality and no mouthpiece. That's something that I made up a long time ago. To me, there's more than one type of simp. You got your lame simps and your sucker simps. You understand me? And what it comes across to me with him, I think he was just a sucker simp. That's all I think it is. You understand me? Let's keep going.
Guys, a lot of these single moms, they live in this real reality where they prioritize themselves over their kid. Guys, if their kid was a priority, they never would have left their baby daddy. They would have sucked their own pride. They would have worked things out with the father just because their kid is their priority. And they would have wanted their kid to have a strong father figure or have a father figure. But since they're their own priority, whether that's because they're out clubbing or their ego is their own priority, that they can't just swallow their pride and just work things out with the baby father, they're single mothers. And I really legitimately realized how deep this shit goes once I got into the relationship, as I'm going to go further in later. So point number one, a lot of these chicks in the clubs that were regulars, they were single mothers, and they're single because they prioritize themselves over their fucking kid, okay? Point number two, okay, is that single mothers, they use their kids as a guilt and shame tool. I don't know if any of you guys have played chess before, right? But you know the pawn, the piece that you just throw in the board and just give it up because it's not worth shit and you just want to kind of strategize your way into position? Yeah. A lot of these single moms use their kids as a pawn. And if you guys are baby daddies, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So guys, once I got into a relationship into a deeper sense with this situation that was going on, I ended up developing a connection with this kid. Kid was great. She was amazing. To be honest, zero complaints. Kid was amazing, right? And I ended up actually caring for this kid. And when things would happen in the relationship where I would like just disconnect and just cut off, the kid would suddenly start to call my phone. Out of nowhere, this kid all of a sudden was actually calling my phone, which, guys, in the past, that wouldn't happen, right? So
in other words, she was using that kid against, men are not evil. Women want to make you think that men are evil because they don't want to do everything a woman says do. But let me tell you something. She was using that child because he got a sweet spot for that child and thought if I let that child express how much it missed him, he'll come right back and be a sucker simp again for me. Women are cold. Women are cruel. You understand me? Women are conniving, sinister, sly. Certain women. But again, when I say certain women, I mean down there 98% of those women. You know how ratchet and wretched you have to be to use a baby. to try to manipulate a man to do your bidding? You know how callous-hearted and hard-hearted you must be to do that? Do you have a soul? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, man. All you doing is putting that baby through trauma. More than that man is. That man gonna have to deal with it too, but that baby gonna bond to it, man. The baby innocent, don't know what the hell going on. That baby bonding to this man and you running this man off and you bringing him back, you run him off and bring him back and stuff. You don't think that's impacting that child point of view about relationships? Really? Man, let's keep going, Jack.
Every time when we would break up, this kid would actually call my phone and ask me like, hey, what are you doing? Or like, where are you going, right? And this is when I realized how dirty the manipulation tricks are. Because if she's using her kid to fucking call me and to manipulate me into feeling bad, imagine how that baby mother or how single mothers use their kids against their baby fathers, which I saw in real time, which I'm not even going to get into, okay? But bottom line is a lot of single mothers, they use their kids as fucking pawns on a chessboard. They'll use them to fucking manipulate you. And that's exactly what I experienced. Like, this chick would literally have her kid text me like, hey, where are you doing? Or I miss you, even though the kid would never do that previously. And that's when I realized, like, damn, over time, I realized like she was using her kid, which was like 9 or 10 at the time, to actually like guilt me into going back with her. You know what I'm saying? And since I was so invested in that kid's life, like I actually wanted to help that kid out. I want to see that kid have a masculine figure and all this type of shit that I don't even believe in anymore, because I'll get into it later. But yeah, single mothers, they use their kids as pawns. You know, if there's somebody watching this video and they're like, oh, that's not all single mothers, that is 95% of single mothers, I'll let the baby daddies in the comment section comment. You know what I'm saying? But bottom line, a lot of these single mothers use their kids as pawn and as leverage tools. You know what I'm saying? Think about how twisted that is, right? So point number 3 that I want to go into, which is actually very important for you guys to understand, is that single mothers don't care how much you do for their kids. Single mothers do not care how much money you spend on their kids, how much time you invest in their kids. They will literally cut you off and never say thank you, not give a fuck, and not recognize your effort and not honor it whatsoever. And the moment I realized this, guys, this was a distinct moment that I realized this. We were in Target one time, okay? And she had just gotten out of work. So she was with her daughter. We met up at Target. She was doing some grocery shopping. I came along. And I remember distinctly how she was ringing her items. I think the total was about $95, okay? And I remember at this time I was struggling with money, right? But since I wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, Captain Save a Single Mother, I decided to pay for her groceries, right? And guys, my bank account, I remember, literally went negative to pay this fucking grocery bill. I literally was giving this woman all that I had. Like all that I had, giving it, right? And 2 days later, I remember we had a disagreement where we literally like broke off. And I remember telling her like, yo, like you literally don't value anything I do for you or your daughter. And I remember her telling me this distinctly, guys. She said, I never asked you to do that anyways.
Man, let me tell you something, man. I believe him. I've heard that stuff before. You can do stuff for women. When you have a woman say, there's a lot of women say shit like that. Well, you did it. I didn't ask you to do it, but you accepted it though. And in most cases, man, you hint at it. Some women will hint, like for example, a good hint. Oh man, how I'm gonna get this bill paid, man? I'm like $40 short of this bill. I need a $230. I'm only $40 short. She's not asking you directly, but she's indirectly asking. She's hinting it at the very most, at the very least, man. Yeah, and then when you do it and you expect something back in return, as far as treatment or some other thing, and you bring it up and she'll be like, I didn't ask you for that. You gave that to me. And she'll get religious. The Lord God moved upon your heart to bless a child of his own. Shit like that. Oh, must have back help him.
Yeah, you gave me this money because you saw the value in me because I am a musty back heifer and you love it. Yeah, I'm blessed and highly favored. I'm a musty back heifer, but I'm blessed.
That's how they are. You understand me, Jack? It's shit crazy. But I'm glad that man came out the store. I hope it helped somebody, man. In a way, hit that like button, man. Like and subscribe. hype up the show. I don't know how y'all do that. I be seeing it sometimes like I hyped up this cool content creator. Do that for me, but hit that like button and share. I greatly appreciate it. Now y'all take it easy now, yeah?